Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your brother Yasin coming at you with another halaqah summary. I please ask that you do make dua for our teacher. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from him. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him patience and sabr for putting up with deficient students like ourselves. And again, please make dua for him, because in last week's halaqah, our beloved teacher spoke to us about Surat al-Teen and the first few ayat of Surat al-Teen in a tafseer that is not spoken about, in a tafseer that the vast majority of the mufassirun and the vast majority of tafsir that are out there do not explain Surat al-Teen in the way that we learned Surat al-Teen from our teacher in the last halaqah, and this is also valuable. And so going into Surat al-Teen, ayah number 1, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونِ. And of course, as we studied in Surat al-Asr, that we know that the wow here, there's different sorts of wow in the Quran. And so this wow specifically is the wow of al-qasam. And so when we speak to having al-qasam, there is actually an anatomy of what swearing in qasam looks like. And so there is the adat of the qasam. Afterwards, there is then the muqsamu bihi, which is the thing that is being sworn by. And then afterwards comes the jawab of the qasam, or muqsamu alayhi, which is the thing that is sworn, the important thing that is all of the swearing is happening for. And so here we see وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swearing by the teen, the fig, and then he's also swearing by the zaytun, which is the olive. Okay, so there's two swears that are happening in ayah number 1. Then in ayah number 2, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then swears by وَطُورِ سِينِينَ. And وَطُورِ سِينِينَ is specifically referring to the Mount Sinai. The Mount Sinai is the mountain where Musa alayhi salam received revelation. And then ayah number 3 then goes into وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ. So we can see here from the very beginning there are 4 qasam that are happening. وَالتِّينَ, number 1. وَالزَّيْتُونَ, number 2. وَطُورِ سِينِينَ, number 3. وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ, number 4. And so all of these are 4 swears that are going on. Now, the vast majority of mufassirun and the vast majority of tafsir with these ayat will go into, the advantages and the benefits of the teen, and the advantages and the benefits of the zaytun, and the how valuable each of these are, and all of the, how important it is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swore by the zaytun and the teen, and going into extreme lengths in regards to that. And then وَطُورِ سِينِينَ, and going into lengths of that, and وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ, and going into lengths of that. However, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again reward our teacher. Our teacher, as he was going through this and putting this together, and there was one explanation of Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anh in regards to the tafsir here, where in reality what these 3 ayat and these 4 swears altogether are speaking about is more so specifically related to the locations of where these objects and these places are taking place. So if you look at وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونَ, وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونَ, subhanAllah, it's not even that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made وَالتِّين one ayah and then وَالزَّيْتُونَ one ayah. It's that وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونَ is one ayah, all of those 2 words together. And why is that the case? Is because there's only one place in the entire world in which the teen and the zaytun are extremely exquisite, that they are extremely unique. And that one place is only the land of Al-Falastin, is the only place of Baytul Maqdis and the surrounding area. And we're not even referring to the land of Asham, right? When you talk about Jordan and Syria, the teen and the zaytun that come from Sham in general is different than when it comes from specifically Palestine. And so when we see وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونَ, this ayah is specifically referring to what? It's specifically referring to Palestine and the land of Palestine. And of course, this is a reference to all of the Anbiya who in some way, shape or form, whether they lived there or they visited there, went to the land of Palestine and Baytul Maqdis. Okay? So وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونَ, we're referring to that. وَطُورِ سِينِينَ, we see here that this is specifically referring to وَطُورِ سِينِينَ is the Mount Sinai, is the Wad, the valley in which Musa alayhi salam received revelation. And so we see here that this is a reference to a specific location. And then طبعا we know وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ, that this is the Balad al-Amin. What is this referring to? This is referring to Mecca, because we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has 2 homes, one home in one bayt in the heavens and one bayt on earth. Where is the bayt of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on earth? It is in Mecca, right? We know this bayt. right? And so this is وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ, the Bayt of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the heavens, with Bayt al-Ma'mur. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about that in Surah Al-Tur. That is a separate Bayt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is talking وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ. This is the place that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam received revelation, which is the city of Mecca. And so we see here that all these three ayat, وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونِ وَطُورِ سِينِينَ وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ, is referring to revelation. It is referring to the message. It is referring to the aqidah and the message that all of the anbiya came. And what was that message? That message was very, very clear. إِنَّ الدِّينَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الْإِشْ إِنَّ الدِّينَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الْإِسْلَامِ. It was very clear that all of these messages that came into place, it came as a result because they were delivering the message of Islam. And so for anybody who says that Ibrahim alayhi salam was X, and Musa alayhi salam was a Yahudi, and Isa alayhi salam was a Christian, or anything like that, no, that is not the case. In fact, all of them were Muslimin because they all came for the singular message, the singular revelation, that was to have the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And so we then understand now the correct understanding of these three ayat is that it's not about the specificity of the teen, it's not about the specificity or the importance of the zaytun, which by itself may hold some importance. But in these ayat, that is not the context that is referring to. It is not that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the food in and of itself, but more so speaking about the areas of revelation, and as a result speaking about the revelation in and of itself, which is the revelation of the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the aqidah and the tawheed, to obey none other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so now we understand what is the Jawab al-Qasam, right? Which is what we're going to get to right now. Excuse me, we don't understand that yet, because so far all of this has only been the Qasam, the Adatul Qasam, which is the tool, which is the wow. And then we've so far seen what is the thing that is being sworn by. So we got 4 swears here. Okay, all of this importance is being built up. The next question might come, where is the jawab of this qasam? Where is the reply? What is the importance of all of this qasam that is taking place? And so that is where we get to ayah number 4, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَقَدْ خَلَقَنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Now again, many of the translations and the mufassirun here talk about لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ, being specifically that the man has been created by standing on 2 legs, and their form is one that is perfected. However, if this is the understanding that we are taking from this ayah in ayah number 4, then ayah number 5 starts to not make much sense, because if you say وَالْعَذُ بِاللَّهِ make much sense, meaning that if that incorrect understanding is taken there, we say ayah number 5 ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ, that the literal translation is that we then reduced him, radadnahu, him, insan meaning, asfala safilin, into the lowest of the low. And so what somebody might understand from that, if you took the perspective that it is taqweem is referring to the physical form, then how can this make sense in the sense that the insan is taken from ahsani taqweem, the best form, and then thumma radadnahu asfala safilin, that he is then reduced to a separate, different form, meaning that he turns into an ant or a snake or some sort of different reduced form? Is that what is understanding from these ayats, that taqweem is referring to the physical form? No, in reality, what we learned in last week's halaqah, and again, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with our teacher, is that we understood that here, ahsani taqweem is referring to ahsani, the fitrah. We're understanding that taqweem here means the fitrah. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ, that He has created them with the fitrah. And so then ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ, that as a result, when he has that fitrah, over time, depending on if he obeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or not, or as we understand from the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, where every single man and woman is created with the tawheed, and then it is their parents that make them into the Majus, the fire worshippers, the Zoroastrian, or the Nasara, or the Yahud. It is the parents and the environment, and etc., 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 that create that person into that. However, that person was born with tawheed. And so we understand that ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ, that they reduce themselves into asfala safilin, that they become the lowest of the low as a result of them losing their fitrah, as a result of them losing their tawheed, and as a result of all of that they become asfala safilin. And so inshallah next week we will talk about ayah number 6 going forward, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and the exception of those who will not be asfala safilin, and what acceptation of that looks like. Again, I please ask for you, this is multiple, fourth, fifth, sixth time now. I please ask for you to make, if you're listening to this and if you benefited from this, please make dua for our teacher. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept him. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring us all closer to His words and the Quran and the true understanding of His words and the Quran. This is your brother Yasin checking out. Talk to you soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.